everybody. We're back. Today, we're talking about multicultural literature. We're talking about diversity in literature. We're talking about representation. We're talking about the essential fact that children need to be able to see themselves in literature. And there's been a huge movement in order to push this forward, as you know, a huge demand and a need expressed from parents, from librarians and teachers and children. And so this book I wanted to share with you. I'm a huge fan of both of these people. This is by Lupita Nyong'o, and it's illustrated by Vashti Harrison, both immensely talented people. I love the way that this book and this story is brought to life. The illustrations are gorgeous, and this video, I can assure you, does them no justice. But it's called Sulwe, so that's what we're going to be looking at here. This is from Simon & Schuster. On the back here, we get a lovely portrait of Lupita. And so I'm going to take off the dust jacket, as you know, as I always do. Keep this in order. When we do take it off, we still have a gorgeous book underneath. That's the night sky with stars, and we've got some iridescence happening in there. We've got some sparkles happening in the stars on the cover, and it's just really, really beautiful. The end sheets, we've got some beautiful patterns here. Title page. Well, this is technically the title page, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Sulwe was born the color of midnight. These illustrations are just everything. They're gorgeous. She looked nothing like her family, not even a little, not at all. Mama was the color of dawn, Baba the color of dusk, and Mish, her sister, was the color of high noon. Hardly anyone at school looked like Sulwe either. People gave her sister Mish pet names like Sunshine and Ray and Beauty. People gave Sulwe names like Blackie and Darky at night. Sulwe felt hurt every time. So she hid away while her sister made lots of friends. So start from, I'm going to kind of go backwards here so you can see all the detail. Sulwe dreamed of being the same color as her sister. She wanted real friends too. Trying to make sure you can see everything here. There we go. So she got the biggest eraser she could find and tried to rub off a layer or two of her darkness. That hurt. She crept into Mama's room and helped herself to her makeup. Oh no, she would hear about this from Mama. Sulwe decided to work from the inside out and ate only the lightest, brightest foods. With a stomachache, she went to bed early and turned to God for a miracle. Dear Lord, why do I look like midnight when my mother looks like dawn? Please make me as fair as the parents I'm from. I want to be beautiful, not just to pretend. I want to have daylight. I want to have friends. If you hear me, my Lord, I would like to comply. May I wake up as bright as the sun in the sky. Amen. When Mama came in to wake her for school the next morning, Sulwe rose to find not a trace of daylight in her midnight skin. Sulwe told Mama everything. So now what we're starting to see here is some influences from graphic design. Graphic novels, comic books, as you may have heard them called. We refer to them as graphic novels now. We're seeing panels, and you're going to see this when I show you some other examples when we go into books that are totally illustrated. And the whole point is to focus on the most important moments, right? So we see this whole page filled up with this moment because this is a pivotal moment in the book. This is where her mother finds out how she feels and she confesses to her mother and tells her everything. And then in these little segments here, we see kind of snapshots of how the realization comes about. And so that's very significant. And now we have here, I'm going to turn around here. Now we have a grand moment here that takes up both pages. Mama asked, "What is your name?" "Sulwe," she muttered. "And what does that mean?" "Star," Sulwe whispered. Brightness is not in your skin, my love. Brightness is just who you are. As for beauty, Mama said, rubbing Sulwe's stomach the way she always did to comfort her, you are beautiful. Sulwe sighed. Well, you are beautiful to me, but you cannot rely on what you look like to make you feel beautiful, my sweet. Real beauty comes from your mind and your heart. It begins with how you see yourself, not how others see you. Now, up you get and out you go. Oh, I'm sorry. You gotta see this. I was so into the moment. I want to read this so well for you guys. It's such a great book. How could she, as dark as she was, have brightness in her? How could she have beauty when no one but her mother seemed to see it? So again, we get these panels in here. And then a big moment. How could she be a star? That night, a shooting star appeared at Sulwe's window. The night sent me, the star said. Come with me. Sulwe hopped onto the star and off they went. So look at the movement, right? So you see how it comes around and then it makes your eye go up and draw up to the text up here. Wonderful device. Long ago, at the beginning of time, said the star, there was night and day, and they were sisters. I don't know if you can see this detail here. That's night and day, and they're sisters. They loved each other very much. But people didn't treat the sisters the same. People gave Day pet names like lovely, nice, pretty. People gave Night names like scary, bad, and ugly. She felt hurt every time. Well, Night got fed up and walked right off the earth. Oh, excuse me. Day stayed behind and enjoyed making everybody happy in the sun. But then Day grew way too long. Day began to really miss her sister, and so did everyone else. there had to be a way to get her back. Day set off to find Night, and she did. I miss you, said Day. I miss you too, said Night. But you don't know what it's like to be treated badly for being dark. You're right, I don't, Day replied. But what I do know is that we need you just the way you are. Come and see. Night returned, and the people rejoiced. We need the darkest night to get the deepest rest. We need you so that we can grow and dream and keep our secrets to ourselves. The stars chimed in. Brightness isn't just for daylight. Light comes in all colors, and some light can only be seen in the dark. While day had a golden glow and night While day had a golden glow, with night everything had a silver sheen, elegant and fine. Day told her sister, when you are darkest is when you are most beautiful. It's when you are the most you. Could it be that night did not need to change? Not even a little? Not at all? Now that night and day were back together, a little bit of night returned to day in the form of shadows, and a little bit of day returned to night in the form of moonlight. They were inseparable from that moment on and promised to celebrate the brightness in each other, whether people chose to see it or not. You see, the star explained, we need them both, on their sunniest day and their darkest night, and every shade in between. Together they make the world we know, light and dark, strong and beautiful. Sulwe rose the next morning, beaming. There would be no hiding anymore. She belonged out in the world, dark and beautiful, bright and strong. And if she ever needed a reminder of her brightness, she could look up at the sky on the darkest night to see for herself. Sulwe felt beautiful, inside and out. And then we have the author's note here, which I will read to you because I think that it's so powerful. Much like Sulwe, I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin. I prayed to God that I would wake up with paler skin. I tried all sorts of things to lighten my complexion. My mother told me often that I was beautiful, but she's my mother. Of course, she's supposed to think that. It wasn't until I was much older that my feelings about my skin changed. It helped to see darker-skinned women being celebrated for their beauty. If they were beautiful, I could be too. I began to see myself differently. So this is from Lupita Nyong'o talking about her own journey into her identity, into her beauty, into seeing herself for who she really is. And this is the last 10 sheets, and that is the book. Isn't it great? I just love this as an example of just seeing every single child's in a book. I want to see every single child in a book, and I just think this is a beautiful example of it. This is Sulwe. So this would be a great option to share with your classes. Stay tuned for the next one.